Every single one of them complicit in genocide. Every single person complicit in genocide around us that we see, and we can't fathom why people support such evil. But it reminds me of this verse of the Quran, in which God says it's not the eyes that can't see that genocide, it's not the ears that can't hear the babies, the kids, the women, the children, the men screaming in pain under the thousands of pounds of bombs, but it is the hearts that can no longer feel. It is the hearts that can no longer comprehend. It is the hearts that can no longer share that humanity. That is what it is.
We have seen the deliberate decimation of Gaza, the attacks killing thousands of people in Lebanon and displacing 1.2 million Lebanese citizens. And we know that the weapons used to commit these crimes are shipped from Dover, Delaware by the Dover Air Force Base. Since last October, there have been at least 30 flights from Dover Air Force Base with weapons for Israel's slaughter. And these weapons are funded with our tax dollars. We have the responsibility to act.
Over 80 members of my family were forced to flee their homes in Lebanon. These aren't statistics. They're my aunts who taught me how to read. They're my cousins who shared their dreams with me. They're my grandparents who built their lives brick by brick in the land that they love. They've become refugees in their own country, joining countless others seeking safety from a conflict that they never chose. And why? Because Lebanon dared to speak the truth. Because we refuse to remain silent when witnessing genocide before our very eyes. Because we stood with humanity when others chose to look away. Our crime? Having a conscience. Having the courage to say no to the slaughter of innocents. We stand here today with Lebanon and Palestine, united in our pain but unbroken in our spirit. We may be wounded, but we are not defeated. Our voices may shake with grief, but they will not be silenced. To the world watching in silence, your silence is complicity. Our homes may be destroyed, but our hope remains unshakable. Our bodies may be broken, but our spirit stands resolute. And though they try to silence us, our truth will echo through generations.
Monday, October 7th, will mark 1 year since Gaza's brief and short-lived prison break. In 1947, before the mass exodus of our people in May of 1948, the Prime Minister of Israel, Ben-Gurion's protege at the time, told the terrorist Zionist forces, "With every Arab attack, we must respond with a decisive blow. The destruction of a place, the expulsion of the residents, and the seizure of the place." In 2024, 77 years later, the Israeli settler state remains eager to fulfill its Plan D of forceful transfer, and if impossible, their plan to exterminate completely the Palestinian people. Israeli officials proudly call this, in their own words, the second Nakba, but worse. October 7th was not the beginning of the war on Gaza, as experts on a variety of news outlets will have you believe. It was the beginning of an end of a century-long oppression and colonial violence. It was a brief reclamation of freedom, even for a brief moment. It was the beginning of the world's awakening amidst all the propaganda that Israel vomits globally. The awakening of mass revolution, rallies, protests, direct actions, and every form of resistance we are capable of engaging in here in the belly of the beast. Resistance, in essence, is a reaction. It is an immediate response. If you are questioning yourself and your support for the resistance at large, even in abstract, I urge you not to be. On October 7th, we witnessed the active decolonization of Palestinian land. Palestinians in Gaza repurposed the occupation's bulldozer to break through the illegitimate border fence. They re-entered occupied 48 lands for the first time in many of our lifetimes. Our people will never submit to the tyranny of Zionism. We march today to mark 1 year since the brave people of Gaza refused to die quietly. We march today for our heroes in Lebanon, who have shown us all time and time again the true weakness of the Zionist entity. The Zionist entity fails to recognize that 1 year ago, the people of Gaza sparked a flame of resistance that cannot and will not be extinguished until Zionism and this empire that backs it is nothing more than ashes. What the Zionist entity fails to recognize is that the popular cradle will never abandon the promise of freedom. Our struggle for liberation cannot be besieged, it cannot be imprisoned, it cannot be occupied, and it cannot be destroyed. Reflect on everything that has happened in the last year. Reflect on all the racist rhetoric that was passed around, all the money that was given to Israel, all the money that was given to militarized police force here in the United States. Reflect on all those videos and photos and testimonies you saw coming from Gaza that angered you enough to show up today and every other day before today. Reflect on the ICJ's decisions. Reflect on who we've elected over the last 75 years, lobbying and switching parties and politicians like old pairs of shoes. Then pause and think. What do the people in Gaza deserve from us? We who fund the death and destruction of the Palestinian people. We whose money funds the literal weaponry that is tested and used on Gazans today. Think critically about it. Think critically and carefully about how much you're willing to engage with national elections and recognize that your engagement has a price, and Gaza is that price. You yourself are that price. Your freedom, your liberation, our liberation hangs by a thread, and do not be the one to cut that thread loose. Glory to our martyrs, glory to our prisoners, glory to the resistance all across the global south, glory to our freedom fighters, and glory to Palestine.